Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and once again it is time for a bench press training day. This vlog is stupid long. My upper body workouts are about to look like this. Even my lowers are going to get longer because I'm going to start adding all that calf work in. So here's what I'm doing. You guys know I'm going to focus on hypertrophy, body composition for a while I'm cutting. Yes, my training looks very, very bodybuilder, but I am still doing squat, bench, and deadlift twice a week. It's going to be the way it's going to work. I'm going to work my conventional deadlifts back in. So it is still has the big three. The powerlifting is in there. We still care about progressive overload, but I am going to get jacked. I'm going to continue to get leaner. I'm down to 215. So for people who are like, Blaha doesn't cut, this is the lightest walk around weight I've been at in years, actually. Right? Because even when I did those water cuts, remember how I was all shredded for that 197? I was 220 was my walk around weight. So we're going to get leaner. I feel like, again, that loose skin's going to really tighten up. I feel like it's starting to now just with the extra fat loss. I'm lean everywhere else. Not shredded lean, but definitely lean. So we're going to keep it moving forward, keeping the diet on point. All right, benching. I decided today, let's pull the wrist straps back off. I really want to work on forearm strength and size and development. So I'm just focusing now on, let's just get that bar in the right position and squeeze it as hard as possible and get the grips that allow me to hold that position, which is just a hair inside the rings, right? Pretty much pinkies on the rings. The benching went good, got all my pause reps. Yes, I know I'm only working with 225, but it's flat back. It's hard. When I arch, you guys have seen me, hit 365 for a pause and then do sets of 12 with 225 after, but that's with an arch, right? That's my power benching. This is all paused, doing that. All right, my shoulder mobility is good enough. I can do pull-ups again. Look at this. Now, this is my dead hang still. That is my range of motion, but we are working on that. It's improved. It's better than when I was doing pull-ups before. Those shoulder issues, I think the pullovers and even doing my hanging leg raises, just hanging from the bar, are helping. So my training is pretty much on camera at this point, other than just some of my ab work. Again, this vlog is going to be long because I added forearm work. And this is a point, I feel like I can only do 3 sets of curls. I need to make them really count now because of that. Because the workouts are so long, I don't want to try to work in 2 different types of curls at this point. It's let me do 3 sets of pull-ups, 3 sets of rows, and then just really focus on some quality sets of curls. And that's what I'm going to do to handle that because I need biceps to be maximally developed, but my God, these workouts are long. This is with everything trimmed down to just me getting into position. It's an 18-minute vlog. This is 18 minutes of actual work sets. This is just one of my upper bodies per week. But I feel good, right? I feel really good. 215, and I'm starting to look leaner. I think we can see it in the back there too. It's coming along. And yes, people are like, oh, this is bodybuilding. No, I'm not going to step on a stage. But am I actually actively working on my physique for the first real time? Yeah. In a very, very, very long time. And it's noticeable. That's the thing, guys. Years of powerlifting and heavy lifting gives you muscle maturity and muscle density. And people, I don't know why people don't seem to grasp that. That gives you a crazy foundation to come in. If you want to switch over a little bit and do that, you can. But the beauty of it is if I get ripped, get lighter, I'll just be in a good weight class for powerlifting. Maximize hypertrophy, then you can reflip the neural drive back on and you are good to go. So again, we did sets of 10 on the bench, sets of 10 on the pull-ups. Incline, that first set, I did some too many touch and go reps in that first set. I'm trying to get used to doing 3 sets of incline after 3 sets of bench again, and I got a little hasty. So I'm going to correct myself now and say, look, that first set was not the best quality. All right, so after that, I like to do the dumbbell rows right now. Why? Most complete development. I like barbell rows. I like bent over rows. I like both of them. The dumbbell row, because I've already done that pull-up, lets me put my hands into a different angle. I feel like I can get really good ranges of motion on these. And again, because I need my arms developed, I do need to think in terms of even my back work. Am I going to hit the arms from a couple different angles? And being able to do that hammer grip there is valuable there. It contributes. It will contribute. All right, these last 2 sets of incline were much better. Of course, notice I'm doing these without wrist straps. So I'm trying to really focus on getting that bar in the right place, getting them stacked. The beauty of it is, though, none of this hurt my wrist today. So I'm going to pull the wrist straps back off. I'm going to focus on, again, the way I'm gripping, remembering to squeeze the bar harder, get the bar into the right position over the wrist, and it should be fine without wrist straps as long as I'm careful with it and practice doing that as I do the other work. All right, but yeah, dumbbell rows. I'm not going crazy heavy. I'm trying to be as strict on these as I can and stretch. So I'm only using a 95-pound dumbbell. Yes, you guys have seen me being able to do some reps with 125, but they're a little bit more short-stroked. All right, I'm trying to do the pull-ups through my fullest range of motion, which will continue to improve. But I want these to be long ranges of motion. I need most of these exercises to be long ranges of motion, particularly lengthened positions. So notice I'm trying to stretch that lat at the bottom, okay? Lengthened positions. All right, and I think we can tell there, yeah, the cut's definitely coming along. And I feel like another 10 pounds, because I'm like 13 pounds into this, I think that waistline's going to look completely different. All right, but the incline stuff here, these sets were a little better the last 2 sets. And I'm not doing long pauses. I'm just trying to make sure I get some pause. You know, I think a lot of times on like the last rep or so, I'll try to pause it longer, right? Like you saw me do there. Again, just to finish everything off, make sure I'm in that lengthened position. But again, trying to get the long ranges of motion on all the pressing. That's why it's flat back. That's why I'm picking grip widths also that stack the wrist at the bottom. But that also is easier on your wrist. So it's not just a potential deeper stretch on the pectorals. It's literally easier on your wrist. All right, these rows, these felt good. Those pull-ups felt good, and then those felt good. Like my whole shoulders and scapula felt nice and loose. I feel like a lot of that stuff is just kind of breaking up. All of the stuff that was just kind of stuck together in my mobility, I feel like the pullovers have been tremendous there. So I even went a little lighter on those today to try to focus on the stretch a little more. You know, and the thing is, we've got enough weight on all this stuff. I mean, my pull-ups are a pretty heavy weight at my body weight. I'm still well over 200 pounds. So we're getting a lot of volume here. Like the tonnages in this workout are pretty dang good. So again, I don't even mind dropping down to a 95 for the rows and doing that. I'm getting good quality sets of 12. They're fatiguing. All right, I went up a little bit on these behind these extensions, these lying extensions. I am weaker on these than on a normal skull crusher, but again, it's a deeper range of motion right there. But I managed to get 12. Like the last set, I squeezed out, I think, an extra rep. These I'm not really taking to failure, but I am taking them to a lot of fatigue. But keep in mind, we do all that pressing to fatigue. This is to make sure that long head gets extra work in the full tricep, but then the pullovers also stretch the long head. So really, it's a lot of tricep volume. All right, I did a couple things with the biceps today. I wanted to assess just like a mild power curl with just a little bit of swing, you know, with 135 to see how it felt doing that older school, really range of motion curl, but maintaining the forward lean to get a stretch at the bottom. All right, these lit my biceps up. Like I feel like the power curl hits my bicep hard, but I'm like, I decided to try also, and I may do it, I had to drop the weight way down to do a real strict all the way to the face, but lean forward so we still get that full position at the bottom. All right, the laterals, I felt like the heavier weight, I was having to cheat a little more than I'd like. And even these 28s, went down to 28s today. These for 10s were hard when I went kind of strict, and particularly doing it as a superset. So I do these 3 exercises as a superset. This is to get through the workouts quicker. Okay, it's to get through the workouts quicker. So it goes extension, curl, lateral. We're going to do the same thing on the pullovers. You're going to see me work both directions of the forearm. And I know some people are like, oh, you need to do like 6 different. You guys are freaking crazy. I get a ton of forearm work on all of my pulling. My forearms are actually pretty big. But here's the point. Can we fully develop everything? You know, I work the biceps and triceps directly, even though I do a lot of pressing and pulling. They need it. So let's do that with the forearms. It will only improve my look, right? It'll only potentially improve my bench and my deadlift. So why not? All right. These were relatively challenging. 12s burned. I actually hit failure on a 12 on the second set of these. This was, I think, real close. If I didn't hit failure, the other I absolutely hit failure. All right. So I decided with this to try it both ways. The argument has been made that one of the heads of the bicep is involved with that flexion of the shoulder. Okay, but only one of the heads, and it's only partially involved. But as long as we don't really unload and we make the bicep work all the way through, notice the wrists are back. And when I do it up there, I bring everything forward enough that the bicep is not completely unloaded. You see dudes curl back and it's like, there's no load on the bicep. Why did you even bother? Okay. So I'm trying to do it in a way that is a complete bicep work. So it's like, okay, let's do that. I like the others up to the chest and the drag curl type, and I feel those a lot. But I also felt these. They just felt slightly different. I felt kind of a different area of my bicep in that I haven't been feeling with the others. So it's like, okay, let's try it. I'm not going to be able to use big weights, but does it matter? I'm doing a lot of pull-ups. I'm a 215-pound guy, and I'm a little heavier by the time I train because I've eaten and drank and everything. Doing a lot of pull-ups. We're getting a lot of tension, mechanical tension on all of that. So if I've got to go lighter, and I'm still getting the stretch at the bottom, and then I guess working the full bicep, I'll live with it. Let's try it for a little while. Just like with these, I have to go a little lighter when I get that extra bit and take it behind the head. But are we potentially working more tricep? Yeah. And because I'm only doing one direct bicep and tricep exercise, because I'm doing multiple big movements for them, I am trying to think in terms of let's make it work as much muscle as possible. Okay, let's work as much muscle as possible. Now, I would argue these are not single joint exercises because of this, because there's shoulder movement. But am I going to complain if I get some extra shoulders? It's kind of like I say before, our goal should never be, oh, let's try to remove other muscles. It's let's work the muscle we want as much as possible. Right? See where we're going there? Do we care if there's some delt and trap involved if it forces us to use more of the muscle we want? Okay. So I tell people, don't think in terms of isolation, think in terms of working the muscle. All right. Again, I think this shot here shows the cut is coming along. All right, cut's coming along. And we're going to continue to do it. Again, that's why I'm focusing on doing the harder versions of the bench and squat and everything, so that I don't worry about numbers as much. Yes, if we can get progressive overload, we get it. But I have to detach. If I want to finish the cut, I've got to be focusing my training on stimulating as much hypertrophy as I can while in its deficit, which the protein overfeeding may help recomp with it. Right? Same thing, you see my hamstrings and stuff there. Definitely getting leaner. Keep going. All right, these, I went back down to the 45 instead of the 55 because I want to maintain that stretch a little better. It feels good in my shoulders. It feels good in my pecs, right? I do want to get that extra stretch in the pectorals. Again, I feel like, if we're going to work every angle of the muscles, if we're going to get jacked, getting that stretch there is kind of important. I need to make sure those pecs get stretched. And also stretching the pecs is what will help with my mobility. My pecs tend to be tight. That affects my shoulder mobility. All right. First set of wrist curls. I knew I could do 135 on these. So I'm like, let me just grab 135, try to get about, I think I did around 12 reps or so. 11, 12, 10, whatever. I forgot. I just did them until they kind of burned. But it was in that range. I'll just call it 10. All right, I tried to do these a couple different ways. I did them seated here, and these were hard. This weight was a little too heavy. They burned, But I also realized the 28s were too heavy for this. And look at the angles I'm having to do to even try to do them. They still work the muscles, but this is probably not ideal. So I did them on the bench for the next 2 sets. Across this bench, and you'll see the weights down there. I took those all the way down to 18 pounds. All right, so you'll see that for the last 2 sets. But you know what? They burned, and I couldn't even get 10 reps on the last set. I couldn't even get 10 reps with it. I think it crapped out at like 8. So the forearm work is there. We're going to work it in slowly, get better at it. And I'm at a point, it's like, look, guys, I'm not going to do 6 different wrist exercises. People are like, you got to work. I just need to work all the main muscles. Keep in mind, my forearms get a lot of work with all this other pulling. But I do think doing the direct work will help. No, I'm not as worried about certain things with reverse curls and stuff because I do 6 sets of pull-ups and 6 sets of dumbbell rows every week. That actually works those areas pretty well. This is just finishing and making sure that the flexors and the extensors are getting some dynamic training, not just squeezing stuff. Okay? Again, could it be worth over time an inch on those forearms? Yeah. And we can see from that angle too that my triceps really do that. Long head really needs more work. All right, here I am doing these here. Oh my God, these burned. These burned. Even these 18-pound dumbbells. What are they doing to me? But afterwards, I feel good. I feel so good after this workout today. Everything just kind of flowed. It felt good. Muscles got fatigued. Everything got a pump. Every single muscle got a pump while I was doing it. My pecs got a pump on both the benching. I felt my lats, traps, everything get pumps on the pull-ups, on the rows. Okay. Man, I felt my shoulders, pecs, and lats all on these pullovers. All the arm work really. I really got. I feel like the triceps got the least pump today, even doing that extension. I'm gonna have to work on that. I want to feel it a little more there. It wouldn't be a bad idea. I mean, I know the exercise is good, but they still felt it, just not as much as some of the other muscles today. My forearms got crazy pumped on all this stuff. So I'm happy with this. This was a good workout, good muscle building workout. I'm again down to 215. Going to keep dropping. I think at 200 I'll probably be pretty dang lean, and I think that waistline is going to look a lot better. So keep rolling with it, guys. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you next time.